Hello, my good people. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about cryptids. I know this is a little different from what I usually do, since this will be my first non-media based list, though these creatures do often appear in a lot of movies, shows, games, etc. Some more than others, so I guess it still kind of ties in. Anyways, if you don't know what a cryptid is, allow me to explain. Basically, a creature which is debated by people if they exist or not. People claim to have seen them. Maybe they have photographic evidence or something, or maybe it's just eyewitness accounts, but we have yet to have full concrete evidence for these beasts' existence. So it's an interesting subject for me and a lot of other people, and I've always been kind of fascinated by the potential of creatures that we haven't discovered yet. So today I thought I'd count down my top 10 favorite cryptids. And since Halloween is coming up, I thought now would be a good time for that. But before we start the countdown, I'd like to go over some things that do not classify as cryptids. One being, things like unicorns and elves don't really count since those are fantasy creatures that aren't really sighted in modern times, and people accept them as fantasy beings. Though some people think that all the fuss about them in the Middle Ages must have come from somewhere. But there are no sightings in the modern era, so they won't count. Two is things like ghosts, vampires, and zombies. Although some people do claim to have sighted and seen ghosts, and vampires are believed by some people, though I'm not sure if anybody thinks zombies are real. At most, they just debate the possibility. But these are technically supernatural humans, and the term cryptid means undiscovered animal, so they won't really count. And three, creepypasta characters aren't cryptids. Slenderman, the Rake, and, well, too many to name, are purely creations for horror stories on the web. Claiming you see them in real life is like saying you saw Freddy or Jason. It doesn't make sense for a fictional character who was made up for a story to be cited in the real world. Also, before we begin, I would just like to say that, while it is kind of fun to believe that these creatures might exist, I'm not saying that any of these creatures are real. This list is purely for fun, and we can't confidently say these things exist unless somebody gets full concrete evidence. Anyways, let's begin.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
Lizard men. Described as human-sized, or maybe slightly bigger, reptilian humanoids that have lizard-like features, often including tails, glowing eyes, and claws. This term actually describes a bunch of different cryptids, since multiple sightings from all around the world of human-like lizards have been reported. From the USA to Japan, and many other countries, the lizard people have definitely gotten around. Usually sighted in swamps and marshes, they often have different names depending on where they're sighted, but all the same are described by people who allegedly saw them, with some variations like horns or not, size differences, and so forth. One encounter had the thing attack the man's car. Those who believe the lizard men lives among us have different theories on what these things are. An offshoot evolution of reptiles, a group of aliens hiding on Earth, which also leads to conspiracy theories about how they're controlling the human race as authority figures, or just some weird animal that we haven't really gotten a hold of yet. With its creepy design, its place in pop culture, and, of course, the fact that it has sightings dating back to the 60s, this is definitely one unique cryptid of fascinating sightings and scale.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The Flatwoods Monster. Okay, considering that the beast is said to have a metallic-looking body, levitates, and was sighted around a supposed meteor crash, if the eyewitnesses are true, then this thing is definitely of extraterrestrial origins. If it isn't just some people being dumb or a guy in a costume trying to scare away the kids off his lawn, I guess. Well, some say that aliens shouldn't classify as cryptids since they're not part of Earth's animal kingdom. I count them since the term means creature that science doesn't recognize as a real species, and they fit that. Anyways, sighted during the 50s in West Virginia Flatwoods, the first people to report this creature were a group of kids who claimed they saw it at night while investigating a light in the forest. The kids were understandably scared and told their parents. Around that same year, other people claimed to have seen an odd figure that's frightening in the dark, although its eye colors being different, either orange or green. Anyways, while it hasn't been sighted in years, the mystery of the thing and its use in pop culture, including being used as inspiration for video game enemies, I am curious why video games, of all things, seem to be the main use of them in the media. And its effect the beast has on its witnesses has many people wondering and fascinated by this thing's club-shaped head for years. Also, it kind of looks like Marvin the Martian.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The Mothman, sometimes referred to as the Owlman. A lot of these sound like superhero names, I know. Anyways, this creature is described as a large black humanoid with large red eyes, a massive wingspan, and is often linked to the Silver Bridge collapse. He's definitely made a name for himself, since they have a statue made of the creature in Point Pleasant, and even thrown a few festivals based off it. The first sightings date back sometime from 1966 and 1967, with the unfortunate incident following suit, the Silver Bridge falling that killed 46 people, with sightings happening before and after the tragedy. While a handful of alleged encounters have happened since then, with some even claiming to see it land in their front yard with nothing bad happening, another noteworthy incident is some sightings in Chernobyl, Ukraine in 1986, shortly before the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. This has caused some people to think that the creature brings bad luck or is an evil entity, though others say it's just a coincidence. Or heck, maybe he's trying to warn people, you don't know. People have also theorized him, or them, to be an alien, an undiscovered species of bird, or maybe even a new species altogether, though very few think he's an actual moth. Because most people doubt moths could have a body like this, or be this big. Who knows? An interesting folklore creature with enough fear factor to keep you up for moths. I tried.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The Negan. A large whale-like creature rumored to have been sighted around Japan. The creature is said to have human-like features, like similar eyes and facial structure, and sometimes fingers, and around the size of a boat, maybe even bigger. Anyway, sightings have been going on since the 60s, and supposed footage has been shown, but it's usually a misunderstanding of a real creature. A freaky looking thing, actually, since human and animal hybrids are usually not very appealing. And it is scary to think about a creature that has similar features to us, possibly making it similar in intelligence level. Ugh. It also has sometimes been reported to sometimes go on land for brief periods of time. Its creepy appearance combined with its large size could make anybody uneasy, but still an interesting creature that has been having plenty of cryptozoologists talking about it for years to come.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The Dover Demon. Okay, this little guy hasn't really been sighted in years, since the 70s to be exact. Though this is still recent enough to be considered modern, since I'm sure some of you watching were alive in the 70s, or at least had parents or cousins who were. Anyways, the Dover Demon is described as being a small white creature walking on all fours, though having hands and fingers, a pale, large cranium, and glowing eyes with no sign of a mouth. How does he eat? This guy was only sighted 3 times overall, but has made a name of himself in the cryptid community. And the guy who originally sighted it still gets asked about it to this very day, not to mention it has Japanese-made figures of it, possibly making it the only marketably cute cryptid. Interesting. Theories about this creature range from being an alien, a new undiscovered animal, a trans-dimensional creature, hence its extreme rarity and being sighted only 3 times overall, and of course a demon of some kind, though skeptics will say it's a misidentified baby moose or cat. The reason I decided to have the Dover Demon on this list is because of how unique it is as a cryptid. It's kinda rare that we get a creature of mystery that's not only small, but ran away among being spotted, making it one of those rare harmless cryptids. Although, when you look for media representation of it, the only ones, to my knowledge, are a hard-to-find movie called Cryptids from 2023 and an episode of the found-footage horror show called Lost Tapes. As of recording this, it might appear in a movie again someday, which both seem to depict the creature as a villain who kills its victims quite violently, even though every sighting in real life ended with it running away. But they're both horror media, so I guess they needed to be depicted malevolently or it wouldn't be horror. Anyways, despite its low amount of eyewitness accounts, it has remained a discussion for years to come.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The Moke Membe. Oh, I hope I'm not butchering the pronunciation. Anyways, this is an elephant-sized to hippo-sized brontosaurus-like reptile said to live in the jungles of the Congo. Tribesmen who are native to Africa claim that they have not only encountered the animal on many occasions, but a few even said they killed and ate one, claiming the meat tastes terrible. Well, around 20 expeditions have been sent to find this creature. No luck was ever had by scientists, and while some people who explored the jungle said to have maybe seen it, and there's these footprints, although some say they're faked and they lack DNA, the fact that these beasts live in the Congo jungle, a place where not many people go, definitely makes it feel a little bit more believable. Also, while I am skeptic about these creatures on the list, come on, a lot of us want these to be proven real, especially because then humanity could finally see a dinosaur in real life. Just a thought. Also, I guess I should mention that there is the possibility that the reason they're smaller than their prehistoric counterparts is due to the less air there is nowadays than there was millions of years ago. Some people have theorized that they've adapted to today's oxygen levels. Anyways, while the creature normally doesn't go out of its way to attack, it apparently does kill others to defend its territory and eggs. Definitely a far cry from the gentle giants the prehistoric kind are often thought to be. Overall, an interesting cryptid, even if it's one of many dinosaur-themed cryptids.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The Loch Ness Monster, a large creature resembling a plesiosaur with its long neck, flippers, and leathery turtle-like skin. Nessie is definitely one of the most well-known cryptids, being a topic in plenty of media and bringing over a ton of tourists over to Scotland. This prehistoric creature has left its mark on the main public consciousness. I like how it resembles a once-existing creature, and how some stuff doesn't add up 100% to the once-existing plesiosaur, mostly its neck movement and shape. While one could say this makes it less believable, I kinda disagree, since if it was really around this long, it very likely would have evolved in a different way. Nessie, while definitely being something we'd kind of be scared of, would definitely be a sight to behold, as it's a large, beautiful creature that represents a time far before our own. It should be noted that Scotland Highlands aren't the only place Nessie-type monsters have been allegedly sighted, as places like Monterey have had people claim these animals have been seen there as well, either indicating that these creatures travel or migrate, or that people just want a Nessie in their own country and made a bootleg. Although it should definitely be noticed that Loch Ness is attached to the ocean, so a lot of these sightings could just be whales and so forth. And of course there's the whole thing that the first ever picture taken of the creature was said to be fake by the guy who did it. But either way, this is definitely an interesting creature that is a total champ.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
El Chupacabra, a beast alleged to live in Latin America and the Caribbean. The Chupacabra is said to suck the blood of animal livestock, hence the name, which translates to the goat suckers. Sightings vary on what the creature is, with some claiming to have bat-like wings while others don't. Some say it's bipedal while others say it's quadruped, and certain people claim it has spikes and quills along its back while others don't. But all sightings claim this creature is hairless with leathery skin, has glowing eyes, sharp claws, and an appetite for goat blood. Skeptics aren't really sure what's been sucking goats dry, that's what she said. Though theories from a weird death cult, vampire bats, or something like that are often thought of, but every year we have more and more reports of El Chupacabra, though the dog-like version is the more common one, and skeptics often say it's just a coyote, another canine with mange. Though believers often point out mange doesn't cause blood-sucking. Of course, if this creature is ever fully proven to exist, besides the obvious it wouldn't be a cryptid anymore, it would raise questions on the two types of El Chupacabra that have been described over the years, and how is it possible that these two very different creatures are the same being? A pretty interesting story is that someone actually claims to have a taxidermied El Chupacabra in their house, and they sent it to scientists and they don't recognize the DNA, as its DNA doesn't match up with any known member of the canine family. It also has two large bumps on its back. Perhaps that's where the wings sprout out of? Anyways, keep in mind this could be fabricated still. Anyways, El Chupacabra. I guess you could say this creature is the goat.
Creepy creatures, like in the movies I see.
The gray alien, the most popular depiction of an extraterrestrial. This creature has invaded our minds, our entertainment, and our intrigue for decades upon decades, with almost every reported abduction, which about 5% of all Americans think they've been abducted at some point, describing the same features, a gray skinny body with black eyes and a large head. These aliens are easily the most recognizable type of alien design. They have been reported for years, and if we're talking pop culture, there's literally countless uses of these guys. But people claim to have been abducted by them, seen them, and not to mention, every UFO sighting, people automatically assume that these were the guys piloting. And then there's the Roswell incident of 1947. While it has seemingly been disproven, it still has people talking about it to this very day. These creatures have advanced technology far beyond ours, to the point where even NASA claims they don't know any human aircraft that moves this fast or in this way in a recent sighting. People do have theories on what these guys want with us. Some say they need our DNA to survive, others think they're studying us like we do animals, some think they want information for conquering the world, though I'm sure if they're highly intelligent, they probably come in peace. Or, they just want to probe us all. Anyways, the Greys. Before we get to my number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The Mongolian deathworm, a large deadly worm said to burrow in the deserts, and as the name implies, is pretty dangerous to humans. Although the ones I mentioned on this list I find more interesting and unique, this is definitely a creature worth mentioning. The werewolf. Okay, according to legend, this thing is actually a person turned into a beast by night due to a curse or a virus or something. However, there are some sightings of it in real life, and some of these sightings are surprisingly in daytime. So if the creature is real, it probably isn't a curse, but a new species of wolf-like creature altogether. So it could count, but I'll play it safe and just leave it as an honorable mention. And while they don't count according to my own rules, I'll give them an honorable mention due to how popular they are. Wendigos and skinwalkers, since they are discussed a lot and are often mistaken for full cryptids. They don't really count since, according to legend, a Wendigo is a person who's been in the forest for too long and started craving human flesh, while a skinwalker is a person with supernatural abilities, that being to take the form of any animal. They're also pretty scary too. Apparently just saying the name of the skinwalker is enough to attract it. Oh shit. Anyways, on to number 1.
Creatures like in the movies I see.
Sasquatch. Did you really think I'd forget the big Bigfoot himself? A large humanoid ape creature that has been the subject of discussion for decades, Sasquatch, or Sasquai, is that the plural, has had probably the most sightings more than any other creature on this list, with new eyewitness accounts happening just about every year. The Bigfoot is a big deal, with the first video of it still being discussed and debated to this day, having toys, comics, and even restaurants dedicated to them. Places around the world have claimed to see other humanoid ape-like creatures, such as the Yowie in Australia, who theorize possible cousins, and get Yeti for this, possibly different species of Sasquatch, like the Yeti, said to live in places like Nunavut and have white fur, or the skunk ape, which is said to be smaller, live in warm climates, and smells bad. Also, as far as cinema goes, Bigfoot is more likely to be portrayed in a sympathetic light than other cryptids, while Nessie is a close second. Sasquatch has plenty of films that depict them with more likable or friendly personalities than others on this list, though Bigfoot horror does exist too, with some genuinely believable evidence, once again not saying it's real, like when they scanned the river water to see what drank previously, they found something that's 98% human in DNA in North America. It's definitely a big deal, and if we don't ever catch it, it would be a massive defeat. And that was my top 10 cryptids list. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and have a great Halloween, everybody.